Hey my friends, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Janie. Either you can follow me on Graham's Backyard Living on YouTube, or I'll upload this also to my Graham's Backyard Living page on Facebook. I just wanted to come and show you real quick what I'm doing. You know, everybody buys up the turkeys that go on sale really cheap, and there's a couple of pages that, you know, people are wanting how to save money and how to maximize their dollar for expenses and how expensive everything is right now. But even if you're giving your company, like some companies gave the company my stepson works for gets a free turkey, so they'll bring it over here, I'll cook it up, and I wanted to show you a couple of things that I'm doing with it. So not only did I found them for 88 cents a pound when we were at the hunting camp, and it's a smaller town. My daughter said she saw some for 33 cents a pound, and that's great. So if a lot of people grab up 3, 4, 5 of those, throw them in the freezer, cook them here and there, and then, you know, you have a lot of meat to render. I think each one of them was like $20, so whatever that almost comes up to is 20 pounds. It was heavy. So I cooked it up in my roaster, and of course I canned all of the broth, which made some really beautiful broth. Cooked up all of the meat, and this takes me time. I can't do it like overnight. So I'm going to show you right here. The other day, what I did was, I'm going to make, we're fixing to head out to the hunting camp. So I'm making tamales with what I have left. This is all I have left. I'm going to roll some of those up and get those steaming. And then, so I counted them up. So I got 2 bags of 20 that I just rolled them in tortillas and individually wrapped them up and put them in the freezer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap these. I'll probably cut this one in half, put there, and then cover it with my enchilada sauce, and then, you know, cheese, and then your lettuce and tomato and my other salsas that go over the top of it, or whatever you want to do. So what I did was I cooked all the meat up, rendered it all off, and then my own canned enchilada sauce, cooked all this meat in that, which has a really wonderful taste to it. And what I'll do is I'll take this enchilada sauce and pour it over the top, and then oven bake it again, and then it'll be ready for a meal at the hunting camp. And I can do that here and take it up there because the oven is just little bitty there in the camper. But I'm going to show you on the tamales. I'm just about done. That even a gringo can do tamales. So I know you like to use all of these wonderful, perfect, great big, and that's what you want to find at first. But I'm kind of down to like the last little odds and ends on the tamales. So what you do, we kind of do a patch and seal. So I'm going to take this one. And it's like, let me see if you can see that really good. So we're doing some patchwork here. So I'm going to take a little bit of my masa. Lay that on there. And there, voila, you have a nice, large surface to work with. You kind of stretch all that out. Some breaks off, it'll be okay. So you just do a thin layer. And I don't know how many I'm going to get, but this is the last of the meat. And what I did was I made up all of the burritos when I rendered out all the meat. Because it don't take me anything with my electric canner. It doesn't take me no time at all to throw those all in a jar. Get them in the electric canner. And then I made up all of the tortillas and got them in the freezer. And then I took a big bowl of whatever I had left. Because by that time I'm exhausted. So whatever I had left, I put that in the refrigerator. It's only been like a couple of days. So I put that in the refrigerator. And you're just going to wrap this up. You think I'd done all those, I would be good at it by now. And just bend that down. And it goes right in there. And I got a pot warming up, and all of these are going to be steaming here pretty soon. And I'll have them cooked up. I'll take those to the hunting camp, and we'll just munch on those for like quick lunches and stuff like that. My enchilada sauce, like I told you all before, if you followed me on my show before, my enchilada sauce or any of my salsas and stuff like that, I've got to taste them, because you want to taste. When you're canning, preparing these foods, you have to taste it. It has to taste good. Even this masa, I picked a little bit of it and taste it, even though it's raw. But you want a good taste. You want a good tasting product. So from the very beginning all the way to the end, you taste and taste. So the enchilada sauce had a little bit of a bite to it. So I thought, ooh, this is going to be really... I try to make stuff that my grandkids can eat and stuff too. So I thought, but I don't remember. I have to remind myself that it's going to be... That's only a component that cooks. So once I put it in the meat and everything, it mellowed the heatness out. So in your masa, and you can find hundreds of tutorials online, people that are more experts on like your masa and making tamales and stuff like that, that I watch, and that's how I learn. But I had some Hatch chili powder that my husband brought me back from New Mexico, and I used that very sparingly. But I did use a couple of tablespoons. Used a couple of tablespoons in my masa, and that's just going to enhance your flavor and build it a little bit more. Now I got a mild chili, so you get, I don't know how to explain it here. People, I don't know, I can't get medium, mild, medium, and hot to differentiate in chilies here. But in New Mexico, and I'm sure other places that are more into the chilies, you get more of the chili flavor. And I don't know how to explain chili flavor to people, because they automatically think hot, but it's not hot. But anyway, I got all that mixed up, and these are smelling wonderful. The meat tastes great, not a burn to it or nothing. So I'm hoping the grandkids will be able to enjoy the enchilada. And then the rest of those I have, and see, this is kind of freezer, this is kind of preparing. They're all individually wrapped. So my husband, so I put these back in the freezer, and for work or whatever, for lunches, my husband can grab one of these, thaw it out, put a little sour cream in there, and eat them. He was trying to take them away from me while I was trying to make them. I said, no, these are going in the freezer, and they're for the hunting camp or for lunches or something like that. I said, I already had him something ready for lunch, but he was wanting to skip that and go straight to this. I said, no, you can wait for him. But kind of a tradition, I guess, in New Mexico is... like the whole family makes tamales and stuff, and they get together, and I'd spend the night at my friend's house. The first night off we had for Christmas break, and her mother would be up at the crack butt of dawn, cooking pork, cooking the meat up. Now this is turkey, and it tastes just fine to me, but that's how I'm using up my turkeys that I bought really cheap, and preparing them in meals and putting them in something that you just don't have to eat a whole lot of turkey. If you know, turkey doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. So whenever you can camouflage them or put them in a Mexican meal or something like that, I think they're really great. That's a way to use up meat and have a meal, and it's saving you money right now if that's all that you can do. But she would be up at the butt crack of dawn on our first day off on Christmas break, cooking, and then slowly, like all of the adult children or even us, I used to hate it. I used to, in the summertime, like October, of course, in New Mexico, it's still, 70, 75 degrees, 80 degrees out. And we're having to roast the chilies. We sit out there and turn chilies and roast chilies, and we're dying of heat. But that's what the kids got to do. But anyway, so, and it would be an all-day event. She would lay out the table and all of these would be setting up. Well, this is just me. So that's why I did what I could do as far as the burritos. I put the meat in the refrigerator, and then it's been a couple of days. I haven't been feeling very well, so it sat in there a couple of days, and then so now I'm getting it out and I'm finishing it up. I feel a lot better today, and I'm going to get this done up. But it kind of gets overwhelming when you see this process, and it's a kind of a tedious process, and I'm not making a whole lot. They would make, the families would take home 20 dozen each, or something like that. And that's great if you have that size of a family. This recipe here calls for 6 cups of the corn masa, and I'm about, let's see, I probably can do about a dozen more. It'll fill this up right here, and that's what that meat, that masa covers. Now, if I need to, if I have leftover masa, I'll take that and throw it in the freezer. And at some point, I want to cook up something. I don't know. I got to look at more things I can do with masa. YouTube has been wonderful. I can find all kinds of recipes and all kinds of things that I can cook up with leftovers, but I won't get rid of that. I won't let it go to waste. I'll put it in the freezer, and then if I need to do another batch, I may cut it in half and add this back to it or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to stop in and let you all know what I'm cooking up with those turkeys that you can get cheap. Of course, all of the bone broth was free, so I got 9 pints and 4 quarts out of what I made up. Now, you can make your broth as strong as you want, or add more or less water, but I think I didn't get quite to the top of the I'm gonna do this while I'm talking so I can get these on the stove, but I didn't quite get it to the top of the roaster. But I filled it pretty good, and I was good with that. I mean, that's quite a bit of broth, and it turned out so beautiful, just a light golden gold broth. And then you can add your salt to it. Add your salt to it at that time, and I put I have basil salt that I made with with the last of my basil that I cut back at the last of my season. Before the season was up, and I need to get some more basil going. It's like a summer day outside today. It was so beautiful this morning. I worked outside a little bit, but I got carrots going, and I've got lettuces planted. I've got a couple of good sized lettuce plants that, we got some pretty good cold, chilly weather here a couple weeks ago, and my lettuce is doing just as good. I bet you it tastes just as sweet as it can be. But, so that's what I got going on right now. Next on the list is going to start in cookies. So, something else I learned, and if I could take this off, I'll show you. I got, Santa brought me my present already. I got it sitting out in the garage, and I just walked by and looked at it. I'm not sure about it yet, but I got a, Harvest Right freeze dryer. So of course the kids want to jump in and talking about all the candies and stuff they want to freeze dry and stuff, but for right now I'm just gonna kind of study it a little bit. I know Becky from Acre Homestead, she's popping stuff in that freeze dryer all the time, and I'm ready to do that, but guess what? Our gardens are in bed asleep, and I don't have a whole lot to do right now as far as getting stuff in the freeze dryer. But I know if I can get I want to do a lot of dill, a lot of cilantro, a lot of my herbs and stuff. I want to get them freeze dried. I made basil salt that yeah, it's right here. Get stuff all over it. This is my basil salt. This is how much I got left. It was about half full. and it's wonderful. I throw a bunch of that in everything, and I did put that in the turkey. Don't know if it changed the taste a whole lot or whatever, but anything that you can add flavor to and just have an explosion of flavor is wonderful whenever you're making all of when you cook with intention. And I'm saying that because now that I go through and think about every ingredient that I'm putting in it, my flavor levels have increased so much more than when I was younger, I guess, and would cook and just kind of throw things together and stuff, and I guess not really think about it or something. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to come and show you what I was doing as far as a good savor. You know, I've read on Facebook where people are like, what are you doing with all them turkeys that you get? And my husband got one deer, one doe, and I also got a doe. Both were at 104 pounds. So we got those processed up, and I've got those in the freezer. So, and then this year I got Italian sausage seasoning. So I say that 3 times real fast. So I made Italian sausage. I made breakfast sausage, made burger. I did get some roast and stuff that he wanted. We did some steak cuts, so we're going to see how those steaks go. There's also a lot of marinating that I want to do, and you usually do that when you have fresh meat. But with these, I'm going to take those steaks, and I do the back straps and the tenderloins. I make them in medallions, and then I'm going to make up. I got a lot of marinades recipes printed that I want to do different marinades, but I'm just going to have to do them as I thaw. You know, take it out the night before, let it thaw out a little bit, or set it out, let it thaw out a little bit, cut it into the medallions, and then get it in a marinade and see how those go. So then I know next year or a little bit later on this year, if we get another deer or something, like I said, we're headed out there. My husband takes 2 weeks off during Christmas, and he stays out there the whole time. I got chickens and dogs and everything, so I can't stay out there the whole time. So I'll hit a couple days here and there. But if we get another deer or so, I may pre-make. Of course, the deer, we hang them in our cooler for a week and a half, something like that. Almost 2 weeks. We waited 2 weeks for this one because my husband had surgery on his hand, so he wasn't. I said, you had surgery on your hand, and you're going to kill this deer, and then I've got to process all this meat. But we got through it. It was probably the meat on the surface part dried out just a little bit, but it was all good. It worked out good. And so what I'll do is, if I know we're going to get, if I know we get a deer, and I have a week window that I can pre-make up some marinades, get them in bags, let them be there. So then whenever I start processing meat, then it can just go right into a marinade, and that would be so wonderful. That would be, and that all that is a meal prep. So like those, I'll pre-cut them up into medallions, get them in a marinade, mark what they are, lemon chicken, chipotle. What did she make? You got to go over to Becky's channel on Acre Homestead and watch her. She makes all of these wonderful, wonderful marinades that she pre-puts her chicken in. She does beef ones. And then so my husband did talk me into, I don't really do good with a lot of roast, like big pieces of meat. I'm not a real big, I can't eat that meat like that, and I don't like it stringy like that. I use a lot of the burger because I go and I get my beef burger. Beef fat, pork fat. I do my own. So I have all that. So I make all the burger, and then the medallions are wonderful. And so the steaks, and then the roast. So one of the roast I'm going to take, she gets a cut where it's like, The real, I mean, paper thin, you can see through it. Paper thin meats, I want to see if I can get a roast out, let it kind of thaw out, but it's best cutting it when it's frozen. Not real hard frozen, but just kind of frozen still a little bit. And I'm going to see if I can get that thin slice for, the sandwiches. What am I trying to say? For the sandwiches that they get, the real thin meat cuts. And then I'm going to marinate those. And she just cooks them on the grill like that. And even if I don't get them that thin, I get them thin enough that I can mix all that on the grill and then put a bunch of our fresh vegetables from the garden and stuff this summer. I just think that's going to be wonderful. So I'm a little bit late on the marinade side, but it's all good. I'll, as you learn and as you learn how to preserve your foods and how to prepare your foods, you just get better and better at it. So this would be my second year going through my mind and thinking a different way of cooking and a different way of preserving as far as my meats, having all my meats, reorganizing, Becky and Chelsea on Little Mountain Ranch have really got me inspired to get my freezer organized, because I'll go through there and I'm like, we don't have no more hamburger, we don't have no more deer burger, we don't have no more deer. So I go and buy which it's fine, from locally sourced farm here in the next little town over. I will go and get beef. I'll get burger, I'll get, a couple of steaks or something just to have some beef, because once we get 2 or 3 deer, that's our meat for the year. And I don't really buy a whole lot of other stuff, but I would go and buy beef and stuff, not thinking I have any hamburger or anything like that. Be digging through the freezer, down in the bottom of the freezer. Lo and behold, I pull out a big one of those just plastic grocery bags full of meat. And I hate doing that, because I'm thinking, well, it doesn't go to waste, but I'm thinking how stupid I had to run and go get all that or make time to go get that when I had it right here. So I'm getting these little plastic bins from like the dollar store or somewhere. They're not real big. They're enough that they have to be where I can pick them up. Now, Chelsea, her husband, he's got those great big, they're like egg crates. They have holes in them all around, but they're huge. Well, since I'm here most of the time and I have to do the digging and stuff, I can't rely on my husband to always be there to pick stuff up like that for me. So I try and make it within my capacity to pick something up. And I get smaller ones that are stackable and stuff, so I can pick that whole thing up, move it over, and go all the way to the bottom and see what I have. And then I have everything, like right now I have all my breakfast sausage in one, I have all my Italian sausage in another, I have all my back straps and tenderloins in one, so I know everything I have, and I can do an inventory. And the little cooler I haven't done, and there's no telling what I've got in there. I'm slowly digging all that out to see what I got, because I'm having to make room for deer and deer meat. So that's why it's so wonderful that I have the freeze dryer now. So I've got a lot of tomatillos in the freezer from this year's garden that's just taking up a bin. So if I can freeze dry them and then rehydrate them to make salsa verde, I think I've got 3 or 4 jars left of salsa verde. And then I also, whenever I make my green chili enchiladas, I'll take a whole jar of salsa verde and pour it into that enchilada. And so I think I'm still, like I said, I'm still really intimidated by the freeze dryer. But once I get it down, I'm sure it'll be fine. Just like anything else I learned to do around here is I'm really intimidated and have to think about it a little while. So that's why the freeze dryer is sitting out there. and I walk by and I look at it. I just got it registered today with the warranty and everything, so got that done. But I'm still just kind of looking at it and seeing what I need to do and how to. That's a whole nother cooking world, is rehydrating foods and reconstituting them and putting them into your meals. So that's going to take me a little bit of thinking to do. But I just wanted to come on here in a few minutes and show you what I'm doing with those turkeys that you buy. And really it's nothing you have to do right now, but these are going to be our meals and a meal, because grandkids are coming out this weekend to get their hunting done. And we'll have family members out there and stuff, and these will be so easy just to grab, and my husband would be so happy. These will be just to grab and eat and go and back to hunting. But also, so the next on the list, I'll probably do a video a little bit down the road, probably be here in, after Christmas or something, but I know that's crazy. I might have to do it before Christmas, but I'm going to see how much I can get done. I'm going to get all my Christmas cookies and chocolates and easy things I can throw together to make some gift box. I still have to go to, I don't go to Dollar Tree very often because I went to the one here and it was closed down. So yeah, it tells you how much I go to Dollar Tree. But Dollar Tree has those cute little gift boxes, you know, with the little window in them and stuff. So I need to go and get some of those, and I'm going to make up gift boxes of all of goodies and stuff for Christmas. And I know everybody's already has all their Christmas videos, but so you can find tons of them online. But and I'm not an expert at baking. I'm still, if you look at my other videos, I tell you I can't make a cookie to save my life. I made snickerdoodles the other day and they were wonderful. So whenever you watch through videos and something doesn't turn out quite right, watch somebody else. Even though Becky and Chelsea are my most favorites, whenever you start getting used to somebody, they're like your friend, and you kind of miss information, little tidbits that may help you. So, and if you ever have, I have light bulb moments where I'm going along and I can't do this, can't get it right. And then one day somebody else says something a little bit different, or a little bit says it a different way or something that clicks with me and the light bulb comes on. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so I was watching somebody, they were making snickerdoodles, and then they talked about getting everything rolled up. And I guess, I don't know if I don't read the recipe all the way through or what, but you take all these, roll them up in balls, and then I watched a whole video of Becky doing her cookies and putting all of the balls, rolling them up in balls, scooping them up, put them in balls, and putting them in the freezer, flash freezing them. Well, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, she's making those for down the road or whatever. No, if you put your doughs put them in the freezer, they hold their shape a little bit more. I had cookies that would spread out and go everywhere. And I don't know that if you can just do but I think it does say put them in the refrigerator or something for a couple of hours or something. I don't know how I was missing that step, but anyway, I was missing it. But the light bulb came on last week or the week before, and I made snickerdoodles, and we ate every one of them, and they were awesome. And I have a whole nother bag I put in the freezer for when I need to pop them out and cook them. So I'm going to do up, and this is also great for me because Becky is like, of course she's half my age, so she's like baking on steroids, and I spend 2-3 hours in the kitchen and I'm done. So that's what's great for me is I can do a recipe, do up all the dough, do the balls, get it in the freezer, and for that day I'm done with that. It can go in the freezer and sit there for a day that I'm going to pop them in the oven and do baking day. So then I go on to the next recipe, get me another one made up. because she does it all in one day, and I'm just like, I can't. Well, and sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she'll put her videos together, and I just think I am so exhausted just watching her. So what I'll do is, so like I said, the light bulb comes on, and I'm like, oh, that's how I'm gonna do that. So it's less overwhelming, because I'm like, unless I have a whole day that I have absolutely nothing to do, I can't start this project. No, I can start the project and piece it out and figure out how I can put stuff away and then come back to it. And that's just like with this meat. I'm like, oh my God, you got to cook all of that meat up, do something with it, do something with the broth, and you have to do it all in one day. No, you don't. So you can have a marinade, like Becky, you can look on her and some of her marinades. Maybe you want to do some turkey, marinate some of the turkey and put it in a bag, and just thaw out the turkey, slice it up, and you'll do it raw. So while I'm talking, I got all of those done. So these are going to go in the pan. I'm going to show you. This is my pan over here. So this is kind of my steamer. So this is how many I got done. And it's going to go down in here and set just above the water. And I did have it heating up earlier, but I didn't want it all to evaporate, so I took it off again. So I'm going to get a lid to go on there. We'll start that warming up. And we're going to steam them. And it says the recipe calls for 1.5 to 2 hours until the tamales easily separate from the husk. Now, I didn't go through this whole tutorial on how to do this because this is my first time. And unlike Becky, I'm not that brave. I don't just tackle stuff on film. And I know I wouldn't have to show it or put it out there, but if it didn't turn out good. But I just wanted to let you all know, not so much about cooking, because there are so many more people out there that are great teachers and experts on the tamales and stuff. So like I said, you can go anywhere and print out, just about print out a recipe or watch it on YouTube, and then you can do it yourself. But the focus here mainly is how am I processing these turkeys, getting them out of my freezer so I can open up some more room for deer, and then getting them in freezer meals. And like I was saying, you could probably take that turkey, thaw it out, slice it up, and then use it like a chicken. She does a lot of chicken breast, slices them up, and then does the marinades. I haven't tried it, but I have one more turkey in the freezer, and probably sometime after Christmas, I think I'm going to try it. I'm going to slice that up into make them like chicken chunks or something like that. She does kebab. She has a kebab recipe that she does her marinade steak recipe. So she does beef, and then she'll do a marinade. You can do a marinade, the same marinade, and do chicken and beef, and have two totally different meals, different tasting meals. But also, I was going to tell you, earlier this week, I made her, I printed out a sweet and sour marinade. And what I did, I'm trying to clean out my freezer so I can open up some space. So what I had was, I had a couple meat chickens that kind of got a little old and got a little bit too much age on them, and the meat was tough, and I knew it was going to be tough. So what I did, I've got a grinder. Since I do all my own deer meat and stuff, I have a grinder. I have all that. So I took all the chicken and I ground it up. and then made cooked up chicken nuggets that night, and the kids ate them and they loved them. Took some of the chicken nuggets, dipped them in egg and flour, put them in the freezer and froze those. Well, I just got those out the other night and did put the and now she's done that. She did this with chicken, but I had that chicken, but to tenderize it up or make it edible because the chickens were too tough. That's what you can do if you get chickens or roosters that you need to get rid of and they go to the freezer camp, and then you're like, how am I going to cook these up? How am I going to make it edible? Put them through a food grinder and make chicken nuggets, make freezer meals. I pulled those out, put them all in, and I posted that. I posted that on my Facebook page, and I made just a simple sweet and sour sauce, and I deep fried them. I re-dredged them, deep fried them again, got them in the oven on that sweet and sour sauce, made up some rice, put 2 or 3 of those chicken patties on top of that rice, and there was a meal. And other than that, the roosters, that meat, or it wasn't a rooster, but it was an overgrown meat bird. We couldn't get to them all right away. So it's ground up chicken. So I'm sure there's a lot of recipes that you have to do with ground chicken. So if you get a rooster you need to do something with, or some overgrown meat birds, or if the meat just ends up being tough, it's kind of, you have to put it through the grinder cooking it. So I don't know how you know that, just that I know that if we let our meat birds go too long, they're going to be tough. So I had to do something with that, and it didn't go to waste. So that worked out great. And so I don't want to keep you very much longer. I've got these tamales in the steamer. I'm getting ready to make my enchilada casserole and roll on with my dough. I'm going to see if I can get 2 or 3 cookie doughs rolled out and in the freezer. And then here, and the one other thing that's great about that is you can do a selection of frozen doughs, and then you can take one pan and do 5 different, 5 chocolate chip, 5 sugar cookies, 5 snickerdoodles, and you'll have a variety. And that's what I'm going to do to take to the camp, for him to take to the hunting camp this week, and for the grandkids to have some snacks, some sweet snacks for this weekend. So I'll make 2 or 3 different kinds, go ahead and bake those up, but I'm not having to bake up all of them. I have to get to them because Christmas is coming. When you get old, when you're younger, Christmas just never gets here. When you're older, you're sliding downhill quick, and Christmas just jumps on you like that. But I've got some neighbors I got to get some treats to, and some other friends I want to get some treats out to. So I do need to get on it, and thank goodness I feel a lot better today, and hopefully it stays that way till forever. But make it through the rest of the winter. I usually say I get something one time in the winter, and that's it. I'm done. I don't need any more. I'm good. So I'll make it till next year. So thank you folks for listening to me and going to my channel. If you want to follow me, I don't do a whole lot of filming. A lot of my filming and a lot of my information is growing in my backyard. And I do have some exciting news coming up, but I'm going to wait till it's a mess right now out there. And I added some more space to my garden. I took over the side yard. I got 4 more planter boxes out there in the side yard, and you're going to see a lot more of me in the early spring, and rolling on from there, because most of my stuff is in the backyard. But I also want to help you all in what do we do with it once we get it out of the backyard and it's sitting here on your table. What are you going to do with all that when you have 10, 11 pounds of peppers and you have 30 pounds of tomatoes, and if you want to get going that way. I'm going to have to go through my pantry. I do have boxes in the bottom of my pantry, and I just emptied out a box from meals that I've been preparing where we're before Christmas, so 2 weeks. So we're 2 weeks into December. So I'm trying to figure out where we're going to be at as far as space and using up a lot of the products. I've used all my ready meals. I still have taco soup. I still have tomato soup. I'm going to take some of those out to the camp. Those will be lunches. You cook up a grilled cheese sandwich and throw some tomato soup on the stove. It's already made, and those were freshly made out of my garden. All of my chili, he has one more jar of chili out at the hunting camp, and that's it. So I'm going to have to pull a lot of my ingredients. I'm more of an ingredient canner, but I did get some meals, taco soup, tomato soup, chilies made up for him as, like I said, an experiment, and they worked out well, and they're great, and they're good. So I'll be putting a bunch more of those together. I've got beans all canned. I've got all of the ingredients I need just to throw them all together. But boy, am I going to go through the cans. So as I go through my pantry shelves, I don't have enough room. I'll clear it out, empty boxes, and put stuff up there and see what I have and go from there, and then I'll see what I know what I want to grow. I want to grow everything, but it's going to be according to how we used it or what we used. My pasta sauce, I've already had to make another batch of pasta sauce. I ran out of all my first batch of pasta sauce, and I have plenty of ingredients of fresh stuff out of my pantry that I can replenish and remake what I need to if we eat a lot of. So I know our pasta sauce, the chili, the beans, all that. I can some more of that up and stuff, but it'll just be according. I'll know more this year. Last year was my first year filling up my pantry. So then you'll look at it come springtime, and when you're starting to plant, what did you use the most of? So that would be what you're planting. Do I need to cut back on these tomatoes? I don't think I need to grow as many tomatoes as I did. Peppers, I only have 2 jalapeno peppers, but I have a lot of bell peppers, and I've got those in the freezer, and I can't wait to freeze dry them. I'm going to take all those. I'll empty out a whole bin of those because I had so many at the end of the season. I had to get them in. We had a frost coming, and I probably got 8 or 10 bags, not gallon bags, but quart bags. I got 8 or 10 quarts of bell peppers. So I'm going to freeze dry those because you use those now at this point, you use those for seasoning. So I can just add them powdered to my dishes and have the same flavor. So that's what I'm going to do with those. I'm going to get those in the freeze dryer. My peppers, I have a lot of peppers done. And like I said, I got that Hatch. My husband brought it back from Hatch. But for me to buy, that's probably, that bag would be $30 for the Hatch chilies. So I'm going to powder up my own chili. And I love just being able to throw chili powder in my enchilada, over my enchiladas, or if I'm cooking up burritos or a Mexican dish or something. And something else I wanted to tell you about before I forget. Now, because my meat was cold, in this recipe it says you cook an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that's what I was getting at until the tamales separate. But because my meat was cold, I'm just guessing to bring that meat up to temperature and it to be cooking. Of course, you can pull one and check it. I'm going to go with 2.5 hours because that meat has to be fully heated, and I'm working from cold. So those are things that you need to think about whenever you adjust. If somebody's going straight from the meat, the lady that I watched, she pulled her meat out and it was all steaming and everything, and she did let it set aside and cool a little bit where she could handle it and break it all up, but it was still on the warm side. Now mine goes right from the refrigerator to the tamales, so they're going to be colder. So I have to adjust for that temperature. So I'm going to go 2.5 hours, and we'll see what happens at that point. But I might turn that down just a tad. And it's steaming really good right now, so we'll have some good tamales for Christmas. But thank you, folks, for joining me and listening to all my rambling and stuff. And if you want to check me out, the YouTube page, or like I said, I don't do a whole lot, and you'll see some really different things. But come springtime, when I get out there and I start planning and I start figuring out what I want to do in the garden and in the new space, you're going to see a lot more of me. So thank you, folks, and you all have a great holiday, and we'll probably see you in the new year.